My name is Jim Claus. One of my primary tasks is drafting the European Council conclusions, so at the level of the heads of state and governments. And that is why I'm also sitting in the room when the meetings go on, so that I can quickly react when leaders want changes in the text.
Bonjour.
It happens quite frequently that they change or they add things, and we have to be very quick in sort of capturing what they want to express in those conclusions, which is then translated into all the official languages of the European Union. It's a very complex business, of course, because we are talking about 28 heads of state and government. So it's not an anodyne meeting, it's an important meeting, it's a meeting where decisions are taken. So there is a very elaborate way of preparing this under the authority of Mr. Van Rompuy, of course. The European Council is a club. You feel it in the room. There is a sense of responsibility. The leaders, the heads of state or government want agreements. They want things to move forward. They don't want to come out and say we disagreed on everything. So it's difficult work. There's a lot of tension, there's a lot of fighting. That's democracy, after all. I mean, democracy is about ideas, very often controversial ideas, and then you sit around the table and you try to find a solution. And that's what it's all about. It has been a massive crisis, and probably the biggest one, but not the first one. And I would even say it's not the last one, because that's the way things go. Very often the Union actually emerges stronger from crises. This has been a pattern in history. Now, this has been a very serious crisis, and it has been extremely painful. But if you step back and look what has been done, I think it's a major step forward. And I am utterly convinced that the Union will emerge stronger.
Aujourd'hui, nous sommes toujours dans une crise économique et sociale, etc. Mais on n'est plus dans une situation où on est comme si on était devant l'abîme et si l'Europe pouvait éclater du jour au lendemain. Je pense que ces motifs politiques, cette profonde détermination politique de continuer cette aventure ensemble, s'appuie aussi dans l'histoire longue de notre continent avec ses guerres et ses tentatives de paix. Et donc, ça s'inscrit vraiment dans une histoire qui commence avec peut-être Napoléon, Bismarck, mais aussi, bien sûr, 1914 et 1939-45.
In the battlefield around Ypres, 600,000 young men were killed. 600,000. So that is 100 years ago. And we thought after this First World War that we could organize a lasting peace. Unfortunately, we only started the process of reconciliation in Europe after a Second World War with even more victims. And so that's the very beginning of the European Union. That is really the European construction built on the graves of millions of people.
Et c'est là-dessus, sur les ruines et les débris de l'Europe à cette époque-là, qu'un certain nombre d'États sont mis ensemble pour dire, bon, déjà, plus jamais ça, on ne veut plus s'entretuer, nous, entre Allemands et Français et tous les autres, et on veut recommencer quelque chose de nouveau. Donc le moment de fondation européenne, c'est vraiment sur cette idée de paix qui était très forte à ce moment-là, pour les hommes d'État, les élites, mais aussi pour les gens. C'est encore ressenti aujourd'hui, au moins par les dirigeants, que l'Europe que nous avons aujourd'hui et que nous continuons à construire, que la raison d'être la plus profonde, c'est toujours la paix. Les bons rapports entre les États.
Die Öffnung des Brandenburger Tors signalisiert heute der ganzen Welt die denkbar beste Absicht, Begegnung von Menschen zu fördern.
La chute du mur de Berlin a été l'un des plus beaux moments de l'histoire européenne du XXe siècle. C'était un moment où l'Europe en tant que telle, en fait, redevient en quelque sorte consciente de son unité.
The 10 new member states came to us, to the European Union, as a result of the end of the Cold War. So they lived during decades still in the atmosphere, in the climate of the post-war period. We are now negotiating also with Serbia, with Montenegro, most likely with other countries. So the European Union is still a dynamic process, a process that is going step by step, covering the whole territory of the European continent. It is still an attractive project, and people tend to forget this.
Enlargement has been, I think, a massive achievement. Let me say this personally, when I arrived in Brussels in 1985, we were 10 member states. We are now 28. That's a revolution. And actually, if you ask countries outside of the European Union, a lot of them want to get in. I mean, look at the debate in the Ukraine, for instance. It allows you to develop law, a legal system, a system of an internal market which functions and all of that. If you think that now we have countries which 20 years ago belonged to the Soviet Union, and they are now members. One of them, Lithuania, has just had the presidency for 6 months. I think it's a miracle.
This revolution which we saw, which turned even bloody, made very clear that Ukraine is different than Belarus or Russia, that Ukrainian people are more pro-European, but still country is not unanimous on this. I think that we cannot exclude Russia from any developments in Europe, and that Russia is a neighbor. Anyway, Russia is economic partner. Anyway, Russia is main energy supplier, and Russia is a huge country, partly in Europe. Still, the time is very turbulent, but people understood that they will not allow politicians to mismanage country. They want to be directly involved in the decisions of their country's future. And this is also an example for us, Europeans. If governments with corruption, with mismanagements, are overshooting their legal responsibilities, people in such countries can take their own decisions and try to influence their future themselves. We need to give no illusions, neither for new government, neither for Ukrainian people, that the road will be difficult. We only can help. Everything, what they started to do, they need to finish themselves.
When we saw waving the European flag, it was a very strong signal that European values are still attractive. Because what were they defending? The values of democracy, the rule of law, and human rights, against a regime that uses manipulation, lies, blackmail, and at the end even violence.
Real change cannot impose quickly. A dictator can impose something, it's not going to last. This is the beauty of the European Union. Every member state, whatever the present circumstances, there might be some economic or political or other difficulties, takes over the presidency for 6 months. Of course, it doesn't rule the Union for 6 months. It chairs one of the institutions of the European Union, a very important institution, which is the Council. It renders a service for 6 months. So now for 6 months, I am almost a Greek civil servant in a way, because I work directly for and with the Greek ministers and the Greek senior civil servants. So a presidency is not somewhere in the void and has to get up in the morning and say, what am I going to do with Europe tomorrow? It is part of a system. I think we should sort of not being stupidly, naively optimistic. I still believe that Europe is a continent which has a lot to offer. The Union does a lot of things. I mean, free movement, circulation. You don't have to stop at the borders. Our students can travel, can live in other countries. All of this is now taken for granted. And I think we should encourage the young people to grab their chances and to do it. The Union will be what the people of Europe will make out of it. And there are ways of influencing. There's a way of making your views known nowadays. So you should do that rather than sort of constantly lamenting and saying things are going badly. I think Europe has a huge potential.